the little cleaning boxes that the Red Cross supplies, and distribute lunches. I said, absolutely, bring them out. So we had 50-some lunches we were giving out every day for the Red Cross, plus all these boxes. So by about Saturday, FEMA showed up. And when they came in, with all their little notepads, they looked all around, they said, didn't the flood hit you? I said, yeah. I said, it hit me. I had 26 inches of water in here. Well, gee whiz. I said, I cleaned it up. I was here that night and moved all of our stuff out, and when it was over, I cleaned it up. And we're back here distributing these supplies. He said, we can help you. I said, really? I said, how are you going to help me? He said, we can give you a boat or a slide. I said, thank you very much, but no, I've already got a loan with a local establishment. I don't need any more loans. And that was the last I seen it.
Yeah.
But when you start cutting down what small businesses do, that hurts.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, that cuts to the core.
Well, it has not been received well all across the country, and the response that it continues to get has caused great concern among the business community. Small businesses like yours and the ones like yours that you're talking about create about 60% of the jobs in America, and I mean that's a big number.
And a lot of work and investment behind doing that.
Sure.
It is.
Absolutely. Who else has got a question or a comment? Yes, sir.
In light of the recent events in Colorado last week in Milwaukee, do you see gun control becoming a hot issue this year? And as a follow-up, do you see it kind of becoming one of those issues that detracts from something that's a lot more important in terms of, job stimulation and economic development?
There will be people that will try to politicize this and make it a distractor. The sad part about it is that people kill people. Guns don't kill people. I am a strong supporter of the Second Amendment rights of Americans to bear arms, and I will continue to do so. It was a devastation that occurred in Colorado, and again yesterday or Sunday in Wisconsin. I don't know if you heard on the news this morning, but I thought how sad this obviously very disturbed veteran who thought he had it in for Muslims went to a church where he thought was Muslim, and it wasn't even Muslim, and killed 6 people. The local churches there in Wisconsin have reached out to this church community with open arms, and I'm glad to see that's the spirit of America. That's what we're made out of. We're going to have bad apples. Every community does, every state does, every nation does, and people are going to do really, really bad things. But I don't think telling people that they can't own guns is going to solve that problem. So there will be people that will try to politicize it, but I have not heard any indication whatsoever that we're going to be dealing with any gun control legislation in the House of Representatives.
On that same line,
yes, sir.
2 things. Mrs. Clinton is running around the UN talking about proposed legislation UN is trying to bring through for gun control to do a treaty worldwide. How's the House going to react to this stuff?
Yeah, well, we're not, the sovereignty of the United States is unquestionably her #1 priority. She may not see it that way, but we're certainly going to insist that she sees it that way. We're not going to stand by and let the United Nations or anyone else subvert the guaranteed constitutional rights of the American people, whether it's Second Amendment rights, whether it's freedom of religion and speech rights. We're simply not going to let that stand. We'll be fighting that.
Part 2 of my question has nothing to do with that. I was reading an article the other day about the baseline for the federal government. And I found the old handy internet looking up. Why does every governmental department get an automatic 7, almost 8% increase to their budget every year?
That's a good question. Absolute good question. Yeah, I wish I could tell you that I'm, you know, well,
I wish every small businessman here got a guaranteed 7 or 8%.
I'm not the architect of that budget process. It has built up over time. It's complicated. We've got, and plus we've got such a complexity within the federal government as it is. We've got a lot of things that the federal government should not be doing. Instead of focusing on the things that it should be doing, we're spending money that we simply don't have. I agree with you that it's a big problem when it's an automatic bump. We've got to get our spending under control. Former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff said our national debt, now approaching $16 trillion, is the biggest national security risk that we have. Let me tell you why I believe that he's telling the truth. You know, in Greece, when Greece's financial system fell apart, remember what happened? What did the president of Greece do when that happened? He said, I resign, we're abolishing the legislature, and we're going to start over again. Well, I don't know who we need to educate, but our Constitution is not a buy-sell agreement. It doesn't have an exit clause in it. We don't get to take the off-ramp. Our president cannot resign and abolish our legislation. That's not the way it works. We have to fix this. We have to control ourselves. Thomas Jefferson once said, I predict future happiness for Americans if we can prevent the federal government from wasting the labors of the people under the pretense of taking care of them. We can't grow a federal government big enough to take care of all of our needs. Europe has tried that. We've got to slow down the growth of the federal government. We tried it in the transportation bill. We sent a 5-year transportation bill to the Senate with a lot of reforms, a lot of eliminating of redundancy and duplication so that states could more quickly get highway programs approved and put people to work and improve our bridges and our roadways. We got it right back from the Senate with most of that stuff stripped out of it. We eventually got a highway bill, but it certainly wasn't on the order of magnitude that we wanted. Didn't have nearly the reforms that we wanted. You've got two opposing mindsets in Washington, D.C. and primarily across the country. I mean, if you look at the polling data, we're trying to decide right now, are we going to be a country that puts our stock in private enterprise, free enterprise, individual freedom and liberty, the ability to pursue our dreams and ambitions on our own terms, or are we going to be a big spending, big government, big taxing, more regulations, more government intrusion into our private lives? That's the decision that America's trying to make right now. And you're seeing the angst and the turmoil associated with that decision-making process. The good news is, we've had this debate before. We had it in the 1700s. We've had it throughout our nation's history, periodically. And guess what? The American people have always made ultimately the right choice. It's been painful at times, but we've always made the right choice. Because we know that freedom is not free, and we have tasted the sweet fruits of liberty. We're not going to give that up. We'll make the right choices. It may take us a little bit of time to get there, but we'll make the right choices. We just got to keep up the fight. Some of you folks are business people. One of my companies in the private sector was, some of you know what an ERP system is, Enterprise Resource Planning. It ties everything from cradle to grave, from order to cash, from ordering a customer placing an order for a product, getting in the raw materials, working it through the manufacturing process, putting it in inventory, shipping it, collecting the invoice on the other end, tying all of that together with a common system. It's called an Enterprise Resource Planning System.